Warrior, this is your Dirty Diddy Daily Update. I want to stress the importance of why we at the Warriors keep talking about Sean Combs, aka Diddy. I have a hard time calling him Diddy, but because everybody knows him as that, the media is referring to him as that, I will refer to him for shorthand, but I like to call him Sean Combs. So if you hear me say Sean Combs, understand what I'm talking about. First of all, though, we need all of you to subscribe to our Warriors channel. Our hashtag is Community Creates Change. Please honor us by subscribing. We want to build community. We want to build numbers. We want to get information you may not hear anywhere else. I'm pretty certain some of the things I say and know you are not hearing anywhere else. We talk about real. We talk about facts. We talk about things you really need to know about. So please honor us at the Warriors by subscribing to the channel. Hit the little bell so you can learn about videos coming out first if you become a member of the Warriors channel. And always honor us with hitting the like button, because again, we are rocking and rolling and we are building community, and I want to continue that. And I thank all of you for joining me in all of this. Now, let's talk about the importance of Dirty Diddy. Dirty Diddy, aka Sean Combs. This case that we have been hearing about for decades, again, we at the Warriors did not have actual proof. I was not in a room. I did not see any of this. I never attended any parties. But because of our sources, my background in the music business and entertainment, lots of things over the years were trickling out or people would mention to me. So everybody knew pretty much in the music business / entertainment / Hollywood, we'll use that for shorthand, what was going on. We certainly heard plenty of rumors that now we're actually seeing some of these things leak out and actually true. The importance of this case is the following. We at the Warriors are always, our bottom line in educating about human trafficking is that we want to teach the public so we can intervene and not have new victims. We also want to create advocacy so you can come along with us, help us for the thousands and thousands of people, slavery in the United States. We have more slavery today than any other time in history in the US, and slavery is really what human trafficking is. And so the importance of this Diddy dirty case, I reversed that there, but I think you know what I mean when I say Diddy dirty, dirty Diddy, is that there are so many victims of Sean Combs and his entourage and his circle, and so many complicity associates, from his right-hand woman, Christina Coram, to bodyguards, to drivers, to record label executives, to people who attended the parties. Now, indeed, if you're in a picture with Diddy, that doesn't mean you are complicit in sex trafficking, right? If you're at a party at all, that doesn't mean anything. We do know, because Homeland Security, FBI have seized all of these videos. Remember that when they went to Miami and they went to Holmby Hills out in California and took a lot of the video equipment and videos. We always heard about videos. What are videos used for? Videos to blackmail somebody, to keep them in silence, to also, in my opinion, and I think we're going to find this out down the road a little bit, there's been no talk of it. If you have these type of videos, you can make a lot of money by uploading them to porn sites, by selling them. So I think we're going to hear about, not only was it a combination of these videos to blackmail people, to obtain their silence, but also to make a lot of money. I look at this case of Dirty Diddy and his accomplices. I want to keep saying that because this guy did not do this on his own. I always said, I believe we're going to find out that minors were involved. And indeed, headlines broke recently, minors perhaps were involved. There is a lawsuit right now. 3,285 people came forward. Of those, the law firm Tony Busby out of Texas, he has vetted and he has taken on so far 120 cases, right? And 25 of those cases are of minors at the time. And these cases go back as early as 91 up until 2024. The importance of all of this is some sort of cabal, organized criminal crime ring, in my opinion. Many are shaken in their boots right now. Many really are complicit. We'll never really know the number. Many are lawyering up right now. Many are seeking damage control right now. Some of these stories I'm reading in the last 48 hours leaked. For instance, Denzel Washington in the New York Post putting out, he arrived at a party one time and then he left, leaking these little things to disassociate. But I have to ask you, for decades, if this type of behavior went on, people saw this horrible stuff. Because remember, as part of the lawsuits, we have people being served a drink. A lot of people who do not even know each other. And it's the same story over and over again. Remember, where there's smoke, there's fire. Reporting that they took a drink, a sip of something, didn't taste right, or they began to get woozy. A lot of people report it. Maybe they had a couple of sips. The whole drink, they woke up the next day. They were passed out. They don't know what happened to them. We do know video equipment, especially in Miami, was set up in lots of rooms. From what we're hearing from the lawsuits. And so I ask you, all these people being at these parties, rumors abound. I mean, if I even heard about it and wasn't part of any of this here in New York City, why didn't anybody really come forward? And I ask this especially with what is reported to be minors around all of this, right? Nobody. How come nobody? Now, there were reports. People did go to hospital emergency rooms. People did report to the police. People did contact the FBI, and it fell on deaf ears. So we have to question all of that, right? How many are complicit here? Unfortunately, we have learned, all of us, money is the bottom line. A lot of these people were bought off, right? A lot of the victims, we want to focus our attention at the warriors on the victims, on the survivors, afraid, very vulnerable people who tried to come forward perhaps, and they were silenced with threats or threats against their family, or perhaps it could be a young mother. Threats. And at the same time, we also know a lot of victims of any kind of sexual exploitation like to forget about it, bury it, hide it in the past, don't ever want to talk about it again. So if we're hearing about 3,285 people have come forward, there could be 325,000. This has been going on for decades now, since the early 90s, these different freak-out parties, white parties. So many victims. What is very important, the takeaway, we need to use this as a lesson. 1, we need to talk to our children and teens, age appropriately, about this. You need to find the piece that you're comfortable talking about, because they're seeing things online, streaming, they're hearing about it in some way, shape, fashion. So let you be the leader and the educator to bring it up. It could be as easy as, did you hear about Diddy? Let them open the conversation. Don't give too much information. Bad people. You need to do it. You need to talk to the kids. We can't have all of the online community talking to our children, right? So do that, number 1. Number 2, we have to show the victims of any kind of sexual exploitation that there is indeed justice. We at the Warriors work with different people, and they always report to us, well, if they're pursuing a lawsuit against somebody, we know there may not be money in this, but just the fact we get some sort of justice, attention on the case is good enough for us. So we have to show, now keep in mind, most victims do not come forward. They bury it. They don't want to talk about it. And that is trauma for life. So if in this case, because we've had some other cases recently, or a case, and I'll leave it at that, I think you all know what I'm talking about, that in my opinion, we didn't really get too much justice. We didn't really find out who are the other buyers, who are the other accomplices to make this kind of global ring happen. So now we've got Dirty Diddy right here. And the thread runs right through the hip-hop community. We have heard that always at the Warriors, that the hip-hop community, the artists, the music executives, it's just really another kind of excuse for sort of this organized crime of exploitation. That's what we heard. That's what we heard. Do I have proof? I'm not a lawyer. That's what we heard. And if we heard it for decades, remember what I say at the Warriors, where there's smoke, there's fire. We have to show victims, whether involved in a case with entertainment that we're seeing unfold here, because the music business, I'm going to remind you again, there was a record label, Bad Boy Entertainment. That should have told you enough. The parties, this is documented in lawsuits, certain parties were called puppy parties, Puppy. Now you take from that what you want. Puppy parties. I'm letting you think about that for a minute. Puppy parties. I know what I think about it. Now I want you to tell me what you think about that. We know there are many complicits, so the record label allowed him to do all of this. So many are complicit, right? So many saw things and didn't step up. We have to show our victims of any kind of sexual abuse, assault, any type of exploitation. There is justice somewhere. We need to start empowering people that, yes, those who harm will be held accountable. This is the tip of the iceberg with Dirty Diddy. There is going to be a clamoring of, I don't even know what to call it. We know it's connected, not only the music business, the thread runs right out into Hollywood, right out into all of that. So let this begin. Let us in 2024 see that those who cause harm to vulnerable people, any people, and especially our children, our precious children, they will be held accountable and not allowed to do this. And please, I leave you with this. Any parent or caretaker who allows their child to get involved in any form of this exploitation because you're being naive, or you're turning the other cheek, or you're selling out for $1, when something seems too good to be true, it is. Take our advice here at the Warriors. When your child is flown from across, I don't know, somewhere in the United States to New York to be brought to a Bad Boy Entertainment office, and you're left in the waiting room, and they are brought into an office and a door closes, absolutely not. If you're going to be involved in any, and of course we at the Warriors, delay is the way, do not allow your children to be involved in show business. But if you are involved with your child, you need to stick to them like peanut butter and jelly. You need to never leave their side at all. And that is your right, because they are a minor. They don't go anywhere with another adult person behind a closed door off anywhere. You have to wake up. Nobody's giving you a record deal. Nobody's doing this for you. Nobody's buying you a house. They are using you. They are making money off of your backs. We have so many people traumatized. And perhaps for a different program, how does that play into the lifelong care? Because this is not something you slap a Band-Aid on. Any of this abuse goes on for the rest of one's lives. Medically, bodies and all that goes with that. Psychologically, people never get over it. And what a burden to the healthcare system that in our country is already overburdened. Think about all these things. Honor our hashtag, Community Creates Change. Be very careful. Let this Dirty Diddy story unfolding before us, with all those so-called celebrities, influencers, music artists, let them shake in their boots, and shame on them for being any part of any of this. And even if they weren't, they just attended a party, they knew things were going on, they saw inappropriate things, kids were mixed into these parties, and you know what? What just a horrible, horrible thing. But this is going to be the breaking point. Things are going to change. Things are going to change. And you know what? I'm glad we're here to help you understand what's going on. Honor our hashtag, Community Creates Change. Always, we thank all of you for participating, sharing this. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, know what's going on. We have so much information available to us. We like to talk about facts, not fears. So be very aware of that. Do your vetting. But there's a lot of great information, and it starts right here. LynnsWarriors.org is the website. You can always write to me, Lynn at lynswarriors.org. Ask some questions if you have any, or if you need some sort of, what's happening in your state. We've got the news and events tab on our website, resources, and we want to thank you because each and every day in the United States, we have to wake up and go out and be a warrior.